Greetings, this is Rob from Android Community, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Boost Max. And this was the ZTE handset that was announced back in January during CES. Some will remember it. It was the device announced as the iconic phablet. And as you'll notice, Boost Mobile has rebranded it the Boost Max. But regardless of the change in name, this handset keeps the same in terms of specs. Let's get that out of the way. We'll quick take a look at some of the goodies that came in the box before we move on to the phone. Just the basics here. You have your standard USB wall adapter, which nicely is on the thin side, which means it should work well in any of your standard power strips. Basic USB cable, nothing overly exciting with that. And a third addition was the little pin tool, which will open up the micro SD card slot on the phone. So, with those few goodies out of the way, let's get to the phone itself. Overall, a decent looking phone. We have a bit of a silver bezel that runs around the front there. You can see. And the back has plastic along the top and bottom, and the middle is a nice solid metal. The phone does feel a bit on the heavy side. In fact, compared to some of the other larger displayed phones, it is on the heavy side. But with the extra weight, we will say this: the phone does feel sturdy, it does feel solid, and for that is a plus. Keeping with the back, we have a speaker along the bottom. We have the pins there, magnetic pins for any accessories that may be coming, as well as an 8 megapixel camera with flash up top. On the top of the device, we have your standard headphone jack. The bottom is clear with the exception of the microphone towards the one side. On the front, we have your, of course, the earpiece up top and a 1 megapixel camera, as well as your standard 3-button navigation. The left side, your USB port for charging, as well as that micro SD card slot, which you can see the little circle for that pin tool, and your volume rocker sitting in the middle. Flipping over to the other side, and we have a power button towards the top portion and a dedicated camera button towards the bottom side. As far as the display, this one is 5.7 inches. It's HD, it's IPS, and it's protected with Corning Gorilla Glass. The phone itself is powered by a dual-core processor, 1.2 gigahertz, and otherwise there's 1 gigabyte of RAM and 8 gigabyte of storage. The one disappointing aspect here is the version of Android. For better or worse, this one is shipping with version 4.1, and for now there hasn't been anything said or mentioned in terms of updates. So, given the size of this, let's take a look at this one compared to some of the other larger phones. We mentioned the Galaxy Note 3, which is also a 5.7 inch display, but as you'll see, the Boost Max is a little bit bigger in size. In fact, it is a bit closer in size to the 6-inch LG G Flex, although the Boost Max isn't sporting a curved design. And throwing one other big device in there, we'll set it side by side with the HTC One Max. So as you'll see, the Boost Max, 5.7 inch display, but the actual phone size is more in line with the 5.9 and 6 inch phones. Regardless though, as we said, this one feels nice, sturdy, and solid. Everything appears to be smooth, everything is opening nicely, no complaints. Of course, we're going to have a full, more proper review to come, but first glance, it looks like a fairly positive outcome. So with that, this is Rob from Android Community, and keep an eye out for the full review of the Boost Max coming later this week.